I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who's not here?
For Chair's remarks, I want to take a second to thank everyone who ran for office this past town meeting. Vernon is the wonderful town it is because we have people that are willing to step up to the plate and serve this town. At the end of, as our year winded down and it's time to reappoint people to committees and so forth, I want to take the opportunity to also thank all of our volunteers and our employees who give 100% to this town. Again, we're only a great town because of the people that are involved. And I know that it's a lot of work and very time-consuming to serve on a lot of these boards, and sometimes some people have to step down because of family reasons and whatnot, but we want to make sure that we take the time to thank them as they're stepping down. And for one last time, we want to thank our town clerk for her years of service. It's going to be very different in this town not to have Sandy there. And I also want to thank Martha Dunkley for her 47 years of service. I won't tell you how old I was. I'd like to say I wasn't born yet. I can't. That's just amazing. I can. You're right. It's just amazing amount of years of dedication by one person to this town. So
absolutely.
we thank them profusely. Okay. And we'll go on to approval of the minutes for March 5th.
Madam Chair, make a motion that we approve the minutes of March with the organization with the addition of the motion to put the town attorney services out to bid.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of March 5th from the organizational meeting with the addition of the town attorney, putting the town attorney out to bid. All those in favor?
I'd like to ask, there is a little bit of a discussion here. Wouldn't that be accept the minutes as corrected?
That's correct.
As corrected. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, really. Why do I say that?
Treasurer's report.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Harris?
I make a motion that we approve warrant 19 SG accounts payable for $37,086.28, 10 S payroll for $11,873.28, and ratify, I think this is a typo, accounts payable for $1,484,215.96. This says it's number 19 SG, but I think that's a different number.
It probably should be 18.
18.
Probably 18, yeah.
8S payroll, $14,497.11, and 9S payroll, $10,897.91.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve and ratify warrants 19 SG accounts payable for $37,086.28, 10S payroll for $11,873.28, and to ratify 18 SG accounts payable for $1,484,215.96, and 8S payroll for $14,497.11, and 9S payroll for $10,897.91. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
These are the total. Oh, that's what, okay.
And first up, we have our wonderful road commissioner, David Walker, please.
Simple. I just see signatures and road mileage.
We love simple.
Three signatures. We didn't add or delete or change anything on the road mileage, so.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we sign his certificate of mileage.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the certificate of mileage. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
can sign on with the other names.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
We're not important over here.
Well, you would have been if you sat on your side.
I know that, that's what I'm saying. We're not important over this way, we're too far away.
Right.
Start with on that side.
Okay,
So you don't feel unwanted.
That's it.
I don't feel
Thank you very much, David.
unwanted.
And as winter's winding down, thank goodness,
Better end it.
thank you and your staff for the great job that you've done all winter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a world of difference between the roads in Vernon and the roads everywhere else, so we really appreciate your effort.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, next on, we have Art Miller from the Farmland Protection. He wanted to come in. He actually had emailed me, and I emailed him back and told him to come in tonight, but I think what we'll,
He has a conflict tonight.
oh, okay. So we will put him on the agenda for the April 1st meeting. Could you shoot him an email and,
I do not have his email address. Can you send it over to me? Thank you.
so we'll skip over him, this making tonight's meeting easier and easier. So we'll put him on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay.
If he has conflict, then we'll work it from there, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, and we have, next on the agenda, boy, we're really running early, because next we have Cookie Allen for bus and school. So if we can get a motion, we'll pass, well, actually, we don't need a motion, because it's
No.
all under new business. So we'll go to the next and come back to the bus and school when Cookie gets here. So now we need to appoint 3 fence viewers.
Madam Chair, do we have a list of who was there last year?
I do have a list somewhere here.
Because I would just go right ahead and reappoint them if they are interested. If not, they can certainly let us know. Pound Keeper would be, I'd make a motion to have the Wyndham Humane Society as our Pound Keeper. Tree Warden as David
Hold on a second.
Walker, if I'm correct.
There's-
Inspector of Wood, Shingles, and Lumber. Wearer of Cold and Fence Viewer, at least one, Annette Royden. I think the other one may be
I think Annette's-
Rory.
uh,
Rory Underwood is
Mary
one,
Underwood, yeah.
and Annette. Annette's all 3 of them, I think.
Yep, she is. And she expressed she'd like to continue that.
And
She likes
who's,
that fence viewer.
yeah, she does. She likes the title. What,
Mike Ball was a fence viewer.
okay. So then the other 2 I got right? Well, that's pretty good for memory.
And you said Rory?
Yeah.
Rory Underwood.
Underwood, yeah.
Yeah, he was the second inspector and the second fence viewer. And then Mike Ball was
Okay.
the
Why
third.
do we have 2 inspectors of wooden shingles? We used to have one.
I think
Maybe
that
because
we've
they added
always,
lumber?
I think we had, if you want to know my honest opinion, or what I remember, I believe that all 3 of them were 3, the wearer of coal was 2, the inspector of wood, shingles, and lumber was 3, along with the fence viewer, and we just brought it down to 2. Because we had called the state to see if we needed the 3, and we didn't.
It's wonderful. I second your motion.
It's
Thank
been
you.
moved in second to reappoint for fence viewers Annette Royden, Mike Ball, and Rory Underwood. Wearer of coal, Annette Royden. Inspector of wood, shingles, and lumber, Annette Royden and Rory Underwood. Tree Warden, David Walker, and Pound Keeper, Wyndham Humane Society. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Chris and I had a little bit of a conversation as we were reorganizing, and we decided that we thought it was probably best to go back to having liaisons, because it gives every department head that one person that they can contact instead of trying to figure out who it is they should contact. So we're going to set up the departments with liaisons at this point, if that is okay with everyone. Okay?
Tried it for a year without,
Yeah, I'm not, I think it worked okay.
but I can see, in the case of a semi-emergency, rather than make 5 phone calls or have one member more responsible or more.
Right.
And that liaison person just keeps in touch with the
Just keeps in
department on
touch
a
with the
regular
department,
basis?
just visits once in a while, make sure everything's okay, but it's a contact person for the department to be able to call quickly.
Okay.
And it's, you know, I think what I found is Chris or I got most of the calls, and, you know, I want to see the board get all the calls, so I think probably going back, it involves everybody.
Okay.
I didn't mind it,
I
I
don't
don't know, it just, because, I mean, we
Yeah,
really
don't
don't
feel
get
I
a ton
minded
of
it at
calls,
all.
but
I
I just think
didn't.
it's more personal. What do you guys think? You liked it better with liaison?
Yep, the only thing I was gonna also suggest, Sandy used to print up a thing with everybody's phone numbers, how we can get hold of your cell phone and everything, that's handy.
Okay.
We'll
I think
have what's her
Katrina
name
has
do it.
all that information, although you're gonna have to add your information to Katrina.
Okay.
She already did,
Yeah.
I already requested it from her, she already gave it to me.
And then Katrina can just send an email to all the department heads, if that'd be okay?
Yep.
Does that work okay? And, okay, so let's start. Fire department.
Tried last year. Sorry, Todd, I'll take it again this year. Only met with them once.
I would like you to be the liaison for the police department, if you wouldn't mind that too. Okay.
That's a good
Stop
idea.
it, dude.
You can stop it too.
No, we wanted you to take them all, actually.
That was a conversation I heard.
Yeah, didn't I say that we were gonna go to liaisons and you were gonna be all of them? Okay, town highway.
I was it before. I don't mind taking it unless you would rather have it. You want to try it this year? Go.
Okay. Chris, you wanna do town office?
Okay.
I'd like to do the rec department again. What else do we have?
Seniors?
Oh, I'll do the
I was
seniors.
just gonna say, Jen, you might do
Sure, I'd love
seniors?
to.
You know, it'd be nice once in a while to go to, they have their potlucks or their birthday celebrations. It's the first and second Mondays of the month, right?
Second and fourth.
Second, I was close.
Yeah, a long way away.
I was mixing the last and the first, so, if you,
Second and the fourth. Okay.
you know their schedule, you can show up every once in a while at a meeting to see how things are going, and if there's anything that they need from us, and how we can help make their lives a little better,
Sure.
okay?
Okay.
And that's really all the liaison does, it's, it's that one face that deals with a certain department and makes sure that they have what they need, or if they have any complaints, they have any issues, or if we have any issues, that person can go to the department and head and talk to that department head,
Okay.
okay? And always, anybody is welcome to call any one of us. I don't want anyone to think that because you have liaisons, you can't call someone else. If you want to call someone else, you're more than welcome. That's why we serve on this board. But I think having that figurehead person is probably a little better. What else do we have?
I think that's it.
Yeah?
I do. We
Maintenance?
used to do,
Maintenance.
well, I
Would that
figured
be
that
under
was in
town?
town office.
You want to do all the town office?
Sure, I
Okay.
don't mind. And, but we used to have liaisons for each committee, too. And I don't know if you want to do that, it's, it's up to you guys, but like, because planning is very active now. All right. Oh, you're already on it, anyway.
I have to meet them.
All
And
right,
if you wanted to do finance, I'll take that.
Okay.
since-
okay. And then there's farmland. Then there's a cemetery.
You still serve on the cemetery?
I do not, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, and if
'Cause
you
I
ever-
haven't got
If you
his-
ever can't do it, I'll do it too. so.
Yeah, because and
We have
Janet's
the
on
history,
that.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
have history
between the
too, but
two.
she's also on it, and so is Sandy.
Oh.
That's right.
So you've got liaisons, we really don't even.
I don't really need
to appoint
me.
Anybody,
No.
yeah, you don't need to go to extra
No.
meetings or anything.
No,
What else? We have the rec board,
Historians.
historians.
I'll do historians. Not that I will go every month or whatever, but that's something that I've been
They only
kind
meet
of thinking
quarterly.
about.
They meet quarterly.
4 times a year?
Yeah, they
Oh, well,
only meet.
that can't hurt me. But no, I really thinking about, becoming like a lifetime member or
I
something.
am a member of the historians, I just don't go very often.
Well,
So is that gonna be Chris?
so me,
So many meetings
cemetery,
sometimes.
nobody, because Janet and Sandy are
Sandy
on
and
it.
Janet, I just have as both
Yeah.
being on it. And the rec board?
I'll do the rec board, because I have, well, should I do the rec board and rec
Well, yeah,
department?
because that sort of kind of goes together,
Yeah,
I would
okay.
think.
Okay, what did we miss? Finance, farmland, cemetery, rec board, historians,
Planning we got.
planning.
Well, we have planning, Jeff's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
do that. Finance committee, Janet.
If I'm gonna do the seniors, I'll do elderly assistance too, if you need somebody for that one. Or is that a separate?
We
I've
never
what
really
is
had
that?
anybody
Oh, okay,
for that.
Okay.
But you know what, that might be a good idea, because I'm kind of interested in some of the things and where they come up with, who do they choose to, do the work and that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean, the outside
Yeah,
help and stuff?
The bids that, for
Yeah,
stuff that goes
they
on.
should,
because it-
it should be out, putting it out and stuff like that, and I'm kind of, so I think that would be great if Janet wanted to do that.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, anything else?
I'm trying to think, rack my brain here. It's going rack, 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 rack. Can you hear it?
I can hear it.
I
it was
thought
the
you
kids playing
could.
in the other room, but
Yeah.
that banging sound I heard was your brain.
Yep. Rattle, rattle, rattle.
We don't
Like
have
your MRI
anything on the
machine.
Connecticut River Joint Commission anymore. Conservation Committee, we don't have. Council on Aging.
I think
Those are all
we have
these
a
appointments.
representative on the Connecticut River, that's Steve Skibnowski.
Right, and for Council on Aging, we appointed Mary Lynn
You
every
did.
year, so we need to appoint her. She's an appointed
And
That would be
position.
one of our appointments that comes up in the
Right.
April meeting.
Yeah.
And Rescue is Dick McNary, but he hasn't heard a single thing from Rescue, so we need to contact Rescue and let them, remind them, because I know we already
that's right.
contacted them once.
Yep.
But remind them that he is our representative so that they can send the information to him that needs to be sent.
Okay. All right, I was just looking for any more committees or, we have a recycling committee now, which is
Oh, yeah.
Spencer and Quartermont.
We have a post BY committee too,
Yeah,
which is Jeff, you're on that, right? Jeff and I and Rich Carroll, Bob Spencer and Dale.
and Mike Quartermach, and you guys.
He's not on the post BY committee.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Oh, I thought he was.
So it
So
was
you don't
you-
need a liaison
No, we
there.
don't
Need a
need a liaison,
liaison.
because Jeff and I are both on it, so.
So recycling,
But can you give me the committee members again, just so, because that's not on this list.
That's because it was a new one we formed a couple months ago. It's Jeff,
Yep.
myself,
Bob Spencer.
Dale, Bob Spencer, and Rich Carroll. Dale Gassett.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. And then the
I don't remember
recycling
forming that.
committee.
You know what? You might have been out sick when we did it.
I think so,
Yeah,
because
you
I
might
don't
have-
remember
I
that
think you were out sick.
whatsoever.
I think you
I'm
were
so
out sick
sorry.
when we did that,
I don't remember.
because it was actually a recommendation that came in, and that's why we did it.
Yeah,
You were out, yeah.
boy, not too much goes past me, but Sandy, I saw that. Did we decide who we want to do for recycling?
That was, Spencer and Quartermont are on there, but we don't have a liaison. Do you need a liaison yet for that one?
Well, I think the recycling thing is something that the select board is gonna get totally involved in because of
I think so, too.
the issues that are gonna be needing to be addressed. So I don't know if we really need a liaison. We're probably,
I would say the full board,
yeah, they're probably gonna be
because
at
we've
our
done
board
that
meetings.
before, too,
Yeah.
put the full board as liaison, so.
Then you have a town picnic committee.
I wouldn't mind being on that one, I mean, a liaison for that if they need one.
Yes, we actually have to get that started.
Because Joyce said she would help. She didn't want to head it up, but she would help. And then we had the offer right at town meeting with Josh Unruh, so.
Right. Right, saying he would be, yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
And I'll call BY and see if we can get money for
So
finance.
yeah, that's another thing that liaisons things is if the committee's hasn't met, then it's our responsibility to kind of kickstart them. So I'll call Josh and Joyce and try to kickstart them immediately.
Okay.
And Veterans
Also,
Memorial Committee.
I'll help out with the thing, because I'll get the fireworks, see if I can get the fireworks.
Okay, I'll tell them that.
Also, I'd like to set up a schedule a date for all of the all the committee chairs to come in and have a brief overview on mornings and minutes and time that everything needs to be in and stuff. I think a quick refreshment, because we have so many new people serving on the committees that they don't always know that, and we have to make sure that we're abiding by all the laws.
I did get a notice that the Finance Committee was going to meet, and so I sent around the warning, and then to get the next email a few minutes later that said it was canceled. So I sent around the cancellation, but we did,
But you did-
But I did get we got a step towards the
Yeah.
right direction anyways. And I did send out emails to the committee members that I had email addresses to the chairs, telling them that we do have to have minutes. It does have to be warned, and I'm more than happy to warn the meeting for them if they notify me.
And that's the hard thing when you're dealing with volunteer committees, you got a committee of 5 people and you try to have a meeting and you schedule it and things come up in 3 people's lives, you have to cancel the meeting because you don't have a quorum. So it's, it's very difficult when you're dealing with volunteer committees, but I think we need to do that too.
Particularly if they're accustomed to not having a whole lot of public participation
Right.
in the volunteer committee, and to also, to organize yourselves as a volunteer committee, and then expect to try to also communicate any changes
It's very difficult.
is a chore.
On page 31 and 32 of our handbook, it explains about the meetings, what they by law have to do, and agendas and all that stuff, and it's clearly states for all committees too.
Yeah.
So that might be a guide
So
for you.
there's got to be, is there a guide we can get through Vermont League of Cities and Towns, a pamphlet kind of thing that we could send to the committee chairs?
Well, I got this through this Vermont Secretary of State, but I tried to get more of them and wasn't very
You can print them
successful.
out.
So I was just going to photocopy this for them, and this is about the open meeting laws. And then, as Chris mentioned, I thought I would photocopy the pages of the Select Board book there, the 2 pages that talks about it.
So how do you think we best handle this? Should we have a meeting? My whole thing is I'm always trying to be very aware of people's time. And
Right.
if you're serving on a committee, you're out of your house one evening or a week or twice a month or whatever the committee meets. And I always hate to demand extra from people.
Right.
So I don't know if it would be best to maybe get all that information together and send it in an email to all the town chairs, or actually have a meeting.
I think we could, at this point, we probably could send it to them. I got responses back from some of the committee chairs. The historian sent me back a response right away. Finance committee did. I didn't have farmland committees. So there's some of the committee chairs that, I probably just need some email addresses for or contact information for. And I think we probably could just put together something, and rather than have them come in for a meeting, unless you really want to do that, but.
No, I just want to make sure that they have the information.
Yeah, and then
that
I'm
they
just kind of
need.
trying to follow up with it. So like, I knew the meeting was supposed to take place for the Finance Committee on Thursday on the 14th, and so then I was going to follow up with, do you need a recording? Who's going to take minutes? How am I going to
Great
get those
reminder.
minutes? And then I promised the town clerk to make sure that those minutes are available within 5 days. So kind of started just try to facilitate that and follow up with it for each committee.
Madam Chair, do we still have floaters? Because we used to have floaters for, so that, or one floater that would go to these meetings each month and take minutes and do their agenda, do their,
We left it in the budget,
I was going
remember.
to say, it's in the budget.
It's in the budget,
We don't really have anybody.
but I don't
that
think there was
know of.
anybody that, that's doing it right now.
I think the only one who takes minutes at anybody's meeting other than ours is you.
Yeah, and I do plannings,
Right.
other than if I can't be there, and then they take them themselves.
well, then maybe you know, maybe they'd like to have you appoint her as a floater so that she does the thing and only one person is doing it. I mean, you know,
It
what
would
is the
depend on when
pleasure of
they
the
held
board?
their meetings and,
I was just gonna say, and how do you feel about that?
I don't know, minutes is not the fun part. It would depend on when they held their meetings and stuff, but it doesn't have to be, like the select board minutes, you know? It doesn't have to be that in-depth, and it,
No,
especially.
but it's
at
gotta
least-
have, it's gotta be,
But-
it's gotta be minutes and it's gotta be,
Yes.
some sort of synopsis of everything that
Yes,
they do.
exactly, but usually they're talking about one topic. They're not talking about, you know, whole, huge agenda worth of stuff.
So
It's a
if
little
we
easier.
asked you to facilitate,
Yep,
you can do it through email.
yep,
You don't have to actually be here to facilitate a lot of this stuff. They could send you the information on warrants,
mhm.
and they could take very
They could take some
simple
notes.
notes. You know, time started,
Mhm.
this was on the agenda, you know, we did this. A
Yep,
brief overview of
then
everything.
we can just type it into a.
And you could
form.
type it into a format and get it to the town clerk's office
Yep.
within the 5-day period. I think that that would be a great help to all the committees. It wouldn't be, I don't think overburdensome on you, because you wouldn't have to actually come here for all of it.
Right,
So you want to give that a try and see
yeah,
what
we can
works?
try that, and that's kind of what I offered out there, was to definitely do the warnings for them, because I have the listing for the warnings, and we can get the postings up. And then, you know, kind of help them know what needs to be in the minutes.
Well, if you can keep track of your hours doing
Yeah.
that.
But if they have someone on the committee that wants to do that.
Then they can, more than,
Then absolutely, because I feel that that's important. We as, when a cemetery committee, a few years back, you know, Arlene was doing the minutes, but she was doing over and above as well. I mean, and nobody has to do over and above to be able to get it, but I came to the select board in 2009, I wasn't on the board then, and asked them if we could start paying her, which she didn't ask for, and they said absolutely not. And but we've had it in the minutes. I mean,
the budget,
budget
yeah.
all the time.
yeah, anybody
to
else that
pay
wants to
them.
do it, I'm more than
Well,
happy
it's just
to.
that because she's a committee member, they
Yes.
want to pay her, and I don't think that's right.
And I don't think it's right either.
I'm constantly saying to planning, if anybody wants to take these over, feel free,
The thing
and
we have to
nobody's
be careful
taking me
of
up
those,
on it.
We can't start paying one person on each committee for all the meetings that go on here, because there's not that much money in the budget, you know? So
No,
we have
that's
to make
true,
sure
too.
that we're not, I mean.
But there
some-
might be somebody
Very
out there
true.
that wants to go to the meetings or do.
See, Noreen
Or
used
do
to
what
be
you're
our
asking
floater
about.
for the town years back.
Well, we
Right.
had quite a few floaters.
Mhm.
when I was
Yeah.
there.
Carol
We did.
Hammond was a floater for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, Irene Miller, I think, was. I can't remember.
I'm certainly not taking it back, but I did send out the initial email to say that, you know, it's required, we have to do it. Here's what I can help you with. I can do the warnings for you if you let me know how often you meet. And, you know, you send me a little thing, then please do the warning. I can follow up with you about the minutes or, and even the topic that you're having. So when we warn it, we know what they're talking about. And that's,
I
and
think
Mary
this is
Lynn
a
did
good
send
idea
that.
right now.
She
We
did
have to
send
make-
that.
Yeah, we have to make sure that that these committees are coordinated in some
Mhm.
way, so I think
Mhm.
that's not a
So-
bad idea.
That was my plan.
Okay.
You lost yet, Janet?
Hanging on by my fingernails.
Okay.
So the Veterans Memorial Committee was the only other committee that I saw on a list.
Yeah, I don't think we ever even had a liaison for that committee.
No.
Okay, we are going to go back to bus and school, so we're not holding Cookie Allen on here forever if she doesn't want to stay and visit with us. So if you guys, one or both, do you both want to come up? Nancy, you know we like your company. Sure, come on up. Come on up. We don't bite.
Maybe Cookie didn't want her up here. Kidding.
I don't mind if you want me out.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for coming to the board tonight, and what is it we can do for you?
Well, I'm hoping you can do something for me. I started driving bus April 1 of 2006. It's been a long time. And at that time, when I did the calendar, I did not put Vernon Town Bus on the logo on top. of the calendar, but since November of 2007, I've put on town band / town bus, whatever. And at this point, we've had a lot of people, well, we've lost a lot of people, if you read the obits, and a lot of people have left. And so that we don't get down to totally not taking the bus out because we don't have anybody to ride it, I am here. I was told to ask the selectmen for help, and somehow, some way, because when I mentioned the word, that is a town bus, everybody would go, oh, we thought it was just for the seniors.
Yeah, people do that.
God, since 2007, I've been putting Vernon Town Bus on the top, and they still think it's just for seniors. What I would like to have asked, if you would approach the school, maybe the principal, and ask the principal to have the kids make some posters promoting the town bus, as promoting the bus as a town bus, not as, and that doesn't mean that the town bus is a tour bus, because it's not. We're not going, somebody asked me if we could go to the Newport Mansions, and I asked them, well, is this personal or this was for historians? I says, how is the Newport Mansions, what have they got to do with the history for our town? Well, we would just like to go there. I said, that's what Travel Cuz is for. They have buses, and then there's Sun Tours, and there's King Ward Tours, and Thai Tours, and there's just all kinds of tour buses going. I says, we're not a tour bus. We do take a trip here and there during the summertime, and we've sort of cut back on some of the trips to help conserve gas. But when we set up the calendar's set up with basics. Every Wednesday is grocery shopping somehow, some way, and 2 doctor's appointments, and there are 2 days that the seniors do say this is our day, and people can join us if they'd like to. Dummerston, where we go to have lunch, anybody that wants to go can go, because seniors pay $3, anybody else pays $4.
Wow.
And they eat just as much as
Cheap enough.
Probably more.
Exactly. You get a whole meal for $4. I'd like to know where else. And then we stop, on those days, we stop back for one grocery shopping, one spot. But there are a couple days that we do, we try to do theater, we try to do some meals. It's important for seniors to have meals, as well as maybe other people in town. But basically what I'd like I'm getting away from my need here, and that is to ask you if you would approach the school and ask them if they could maybe make up some kind of flyers for posters promoting the school, promoting the bus as a town bus, open to all town residents, not just seniors.
I have an idea.
Senior signs, I took off the bus, I think, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Why don't we approach the Girl Scouts and see if they could earn a badge on conservation
Okay.
by encouraging people to use the town bus instead, for their trips
Instead
into
of-
town,
yeah,
instead of
instead
the
of
cars.
cars.
And then they can earn badges at the same time.
Yep,
It's a good idea.
okay. So, you'd be willing to do that?
Yeah, I can call, I don't want to say names, but yeah, I can call.
Yep. And what about, putting it in the newsletter for the school?
I can ask the principal about that. Just letting people know that the town bus is for everybody's use.
Yeah.
And that's when you go to, doctor appointments and any place.
Yeah, I mean, even if, the days that we go to Dummerston, somebody said to me, well, I don't want to go to lunch. I says, I can take you up to Brattleboro and leave you someplace on
Yeah.
the way through town you can do your errands and I'll meet you back here and I can.
What a good
more or
thought.
less
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell, what time I'm gonna be back. One day we meet back at Hannaford's, one day we meet back at Price Chopper, either way. But I can give them a ride to wherever, leave them off, and then keep on going to our lunch if they don't wanna go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm pretty much open to do a lot of different things.
I'm kind of trying to think of how we could get that out there to people, to know that
Well, it's getting out there now.
it certainly is.
Well, that was the other thing, as long as you say getting out there now. The seniors are still complaining they can't hear you. There's a lot of talking between you all and these things aren't picking up the sound, I guess.
I've never had anybody ever say they couldn't hear me.
Yeah?
Or me.
So
I
it can't,
can tell you the names.
it can't be me they can't hear. They probably can't hear Sandy, but I know they can hear me.
Sandy promises she's going to get louder.
I'm working on it.
Yes.
Rattling papers and.
Oh, that's
talking,
something
they
that
can't-
that's
they
a
can't.
normal
That's picked up in the.
bad habit.
Thing, rather than hearing people's voices.
But it is really difficult when we're sitting here with a pile of papers in
Papers,
front
we
of
have to-
ourselves, and we have
yeah.
to pull the paper we need up to not make.
Or you have to sign it, so you're
Right.
rattling
Yep.
back and
I
forth.
mean, we are aware of it, and we are really trying to keep the noise, but unfortunately, I think our voices probably don't get picked up as well on these mics as the paper rustling does for
Oh,
some
yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
So you want a poster, a marketing campaign?
Sure, we'll play poker.
Poker.
You in a gambling mood, aren't you?
A poster, a marketing campaign done on taking the town bus.
Using the bus for town people. Town bus.
And
For
maybe
all
also
people.
telling people where they can see the schedule, since there's no Vernon newspaper
Oh,
anymore.
God, it's hanging up at the post office, it's at the town office.
That could maybe
It's
be
at
in
the
the
store.
marketing campaign as well, so that people know where to look if they don't.
Yep.
It used to go out in the
Here comes
newspaper,
the,
and or Sandy's not a newspaper.
Marketing.
And then the other thing that we were kind of batting around, and that is some sort of I don't know if you want to call it a flyer or maybe a questionnaire or something like that, that we were thinking of trying to squeeze in, send it out somewheres, but I asked Susan if there was going to be any type of literature going out, and she said not right now, maybe in the future. But getting out, and we were thinking too of doing that for town meeting day, getting out some sort of a paper asking, what would you like to see your town bus doing?
We thought about having the paper at the desk at the town clerk's office, so people could see it and, oh, I'd like to go here, and they could write it down so we could get suggestions.
Well, I'll tell you what I can do for you. If you put something together, like a newsletter or something that you want mailed out or something like that, I can run it off on the newspaper's printer for you. I wouldn't want to do it every month or feel obligated to do it, often, but every once in a while, I don't mind doing that
As a mailing or just a copy?
as a mailing for you, if that's what you thought.
How would we pay for that?
Well, that would fall underneath maybe our, the town's bulk mailing, perhaps?
Every door direct is cheaper.
Yeah.
Every door direct is, what, $105 or something like
Yeah.
that?
Maybe come
But
spring or
still, where
summertime.
would
Then get the seniors to staple it and put a stamp on it, and we'll go, right?
You
You
don't
don't
need
even
Don't
need
even-
that.
How many
And
stamps?
if you do it on card tag, you don't even need to, you don't need to fold it or anything, you just.
No, it just goes out
It's
that
all
way.
on card tag, it goes out just
Wow,
like that, it
see
costs you
that?
$105. And it goes to every mailbox in Vernon, just our
So
email
she
address.
wonders what fund would the money come out for?
I know, I'm trying to think of that.
Well, we don't have this,
I guess
we have a general fund.
we do have,
Left in your newspaper?
I don't know if we have anything left. I think we held some over, but we do not have a new budget.
you
So I'll
get it
look at that.
done, you get what you want done on. We'll get, if Chris doesn't mind, we'll get it printed off on the cardstock And we'll find the money for the first mailing, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Just, I would think it would have to be many mailings.
No.
Want to let everybody know
Maybe
it
a
is
couple a
town
year,
bus,
yeah.
and we want suggestions, and summer is coming up with more trips than the bus has had in the bad weather.
And I offer the newspapers thing because it will print it individually instead of going and having it copied, where once you do that, after, 500 of them, you're starting to lose, it's starting to get duller and duller and duller. This way, every copy will be right on, nice. That's why I
I'd
offer
like you also, though, to think about if we're gonna open this up and say to townspeople, don't take your car at $4 a gallon for gas to town. Let's get everybody together and conserve energy. I'd like to think about a small charge for driving people in and out of
Well,
town.
after we get a busload of 10 or 16 people, I can see charging, but 3 or 4 people,
Right.
And especially seniors.
and
If they're the only ones riding, you don't want to.
But you're not talking about seniors
No,
anymore.
we're
You're
talking
talking
about
about,
town
right,
people.
you're talking about opening it up. So if we're gonna open it up to townspeople to be able to do stuff like that,
That's an added thing to your bus driver to handle.
right.
That's a thought for you guys, that's.
at that point, I think you also should figure out if you're going to be charging and I'm supposed to be collecting money, that puts me in a bad situation of being robbed on the bus, and I don't particularly care for that.
That's a
So
thought
we're
that I
gonna have
hadn't
to
thought
Figure
of.
out a different way of either selling tokens or something along those lines, if that be the case.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
That's a good idea.
Pick them up at the town.
Yep. Pay for them at the
But
town
I
clerk
don't know
or
why
town
the guy
treasurer's
Boston got
office.
beat up because he wouldn't take the person's token or whatever it was that he did, but in this day and age when people are scurrying around looking for money and not wanting to work, I'm thinking that they're going to be given a free ride somewhere, so I don't think we ought to help them.
No, I don't disagree with that. I just,
No, I don't either.
the flip side I'm thinking about is people are gonna start saying, well, I don't ever ride the bus, but, if all these people in town are gonna ride the bus, they should pay for the bus. Once you start, you're right in the fact that the thought is that seniors take the bus. But once you're really promoting and marketing that bus being open for everyone, people are gonna start saying, well, people who are using the bus should pay for the bus, and gas is expensive. And you're also gonna have your seniors that are gonna be worried about the fund being depleted because of trips that are being taken. And I know that you're not taking extra trips for this, but you know as well as I do, it's the perception out there that's very difficult. So we're gonna have to be careful on how we handle this so that we don't have people walking around saying things that really aren't factual.
Well, I don't think we can stop them from that.
Not completely, but and we can make sure, if we make sure that they know exactly what's going on.
Isn't that the truth?
So maybe this is not even a good idea even to just promote it as the town bus. It should just continue being the seniors.
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea because you can't, why have an empty bus going in and out of town?
Well, it's
But
not
people who can-
exactly empty, but it's not as many people. I had as we called them, the 3 M's, and we lost 2 M's, and we got 1 M left. And Marnie passed away, and Marge has moved out of town and leaves Maxine. And so, when she's sick, a lot of the time, she's, 91, and she's frail and having a hard time.
My suggestion is to try to get it out for the town. To know that it is a town bus and to get rid of these
I agree.
rumors and see what happens. Try the school, try the newspaper, and try a couple of these other things, and then see what we get from that, and then go from there.
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
If we find that the ridership is increased and there are people that are riding the bus that can afford it, then, I'm not saying,
I don't think we should publicize that.
well, I'm not
Right now.
saying $20 a month to ride
No,
the
no,
bus,
no,
I'm
I'm
saying
just saying.
$1 a trip.
I don't think it should be
Right.
publicized right now.
Okay, well,
About
let's take it step by step and see what happens. But if you get the information to Chris, she'll print it off for you and you can get the mailing done. And we'll direct Sally to take it out of the select board's budget.
Positive thing to the town, you have a bus, use it.
Sure.
Sure, to the point.
Yep. Put it on one paper and out it goes.
And I like the idea of asking people for their suggestions, too.
Yes.
Maybe they'll, come up with some things that just haven't crossed your mind.
And you may only get, a handful of replies for what you
Just
send
have
out.
a piece of paper, on a clipboard by upstairs.
But if you get 50 replies, it's 50 replies you didn't have.
Yes,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do a clipboard down there. Yeah. I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll call the Girl Scouts, excuse me, and the principal. See if we'll put it in the newsletter. Actually, do we even want to do that if we're going to do a mailing?
I don't think it would hurt.
thought of-
I don't think it would hurt.
Maybe,
Reinforce.
yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna cost to get it in their newsletter.
Yeah. Yeah, if they have space, and hopefully they'll put it in for you. All right,
Thank you.
see what we can do.
Thank you.
Okay, we decided that instead of setting up dates with our committee heads, we're gonna send them all the information by online.
Yep.
Okay, Todd, do you have something you wanna, you just came to visit?
Just came to.
Okay, goals and objectives.
We didn't have a meeting like we did last year, the second.
I don't know if we have the, I would like to do it, but I'd like to do something a little different this year. Instead of just a select board, I'd like to do a town employee meeting like we did last year.
Yeah, that's an idea. And then have dinner brought in, you mean? And instead of a select board,
I mean, could we
All
even
of
do
us.
it, we could even do it here and just provide, a buffet kind of dinner for the employees, or lunch. If we could do it during the day. Are we all available during the day? We're all available during the day now, huh? Yeah, I mean, if you had enough of a notice
I think it'd be more convenient
for
for
the employees.
employees.
Right,
Mhm.
right, that's what I'm thinking.
Make them, some of them come tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's just what I'm thinking, it'd be more convenient for them, but I think that there would be, there's a lot to get out of it.
Mhm.
And then it wouldn't be as expensive, because we'd have to still pay for Vermont League of Cities and Towns to come down here, or maybe they can kind of change the presentation a little bit from what they did for us, but let's talk about it on a town level. What are our goals and objectives in the town? We're gonna talk about, well, we're not gonna talk about employee relations, obviously, but, maybe relations within the employees, not between the select board and the employees as much as the dealings with each other, and, how we want, what our perception to the public needs to be, how we want, our openness and transparency to be for, how do we achieve those kind of goals? So I think that would be a good idea. What do you think, Dave?
It would be a good idea.
I think it would be awesome. I really think it'd be a good time to get everybody together and say, okay, let's have a conversation here, bring somebody from Vermont League of Cities and Town down to facilitate it, and, and let's have a meeting about goals and objectives for the next year. Let's make every department
Yeah.
in Vernon and the select board more effective and more efficient, and how do we do that? Okay? And Cookie, we'd love to have you come too. I think there's a lot that we can all do if we work together. Okay, so, what's a good time?
When you back?
April 1st.
You're leaving,
That's my April Fool's Day.
you'll be gone then, right, Sandy?
How long are you gone for?
I'm just going over that weekend.
Well, how about,
I leave the end of the month.
how about either toward the end of the month of April or the beginning, week or two of May, so that we know that there's not going to be a snowstorm. We're pretty much out of the, yeah.
Because we really want David and the guys.
Yeah, I'm gone in May. I'll tell you on the 30th.
Are you going to be here at all? See, now that you're retired and everything, you're just going everywhere, aren't you?
Robert Mosey wants to go next case.
Yeah. Where you go? Oh, Germany?
Australia.
Australia? That's right, you did say that.
So, I leave on the 30th for there, and I get back on the 2nd.
You leave on the 30th of April? And get back on,
I get back on the 15th.
oh, okay, because you said I leave on the 30th and get back on the
The
2nd.
second, yeah.
I get,
You're just gonna be getting there.
oh, I have to do it.
Australia, you said?
Mhm.
That's gonna be, Hawaii's a 13-hour flight. How many hours is Australia?
It's 22.
It's over 20.
Yep, I think it's
I got
22.
lots of books. I need to
Where are
do.
you going in Hawaii? Hawaii.
Adelaide.
Australia.
Adelaide. Adelaide,
Where's that at? Melbourne?
down there.
Down there?
Down under.
Down near Canberra?
Mhm. You been there?
I did.
You can give me some tips.
I'd love to go again.
My son did his junior fall semester in Australia. You should talk to him. He just loved it there.
You're whispering again.
So, you're back so all of April you're back. Now,
Yes.
what's April like for you, Jeff? That's gonna be a busy time for you.
Why, do the cows milk more?
Yeah, but I gotta-
Well, there's plant
take a
stuff.
break.
You can take a break.
Gotta eat, gotta have lunch.
Yeah, but this will
Yeah,
be
but
like
I
an
think
all-day
this is
thing, right?
It'll be 3 or 4
Oh,
hours.
yeah, that's right.
It's not just a half-hour lunch, it'll be a 3 or 4 hour event.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
That's fine, okay. Janet, you're all set too?
Yep, not a problem.
I know Chris and I are all set, because we don't have lives.
Speak for yourself. Thank you very much. Jeez.
Okay, so anytime after April 1st, because that's when I get back, to
Got to get a hold of VLCT.
April 30th. Sandy, do you want to take care
Sure. I'll
Getting
be
a hold-
there Thursday.
of, what's probably the best day of the week to try to shoot for?
Ask David and Cookie, what are the best days for you guys?
So, we'll just see if you can set up a Tuesday or Thursday between the,
Not the second, not the third. Not the second, was it
So,
first Tuesday of the month and the third?
No, it would be after, because she's not going to be here she's leaving on April.
so if we did it like the 9th and, Tuesday, the 9th or the 11th, 16th or 18th?
Or the 23rd and 25th.
There's 4 Tuesdays in the month of April.
Yeah, the first week is out because Sandy's not going to be here.
Right,
I'm
you're on
not
Thursday.
counting that.
Oh, you will be? Okay.
There's 5 Tuesdays.
There's 5 Tuesdays in April.
I already got my calendar made up.
Good
so you're
girl.
doing
Wow.
stuff on all the Tuesdays?
I'm telling you that, wait a minute, let me get my
Okay.
glasses and I'll tell you which ones. 9, 16, 23, and 30. Unless I've got something written on the calendar at home.
So, okay.
Are available.
Are available, okay.
Yeah.
So the 9th and 11th.
I mean,
or
that's, Tuesdays
23rd.
or Thursdays are the best days, but if we can only get somebody on a Wednesday, we can do a Wednesday, right? Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll do the best we can to try to set that up.
The only other thing, Patty, is there's something going on Wednesday. The drill, next month.
Oh, good grief.
I don't know.
We'll aim for
But you-
Tuesday or Thursday.
I just figured I'd bring it up. so
Yeah,
we
no,
can
you're right, there is
check the
something,
policy,
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can make it anyway. I have a couple of them in April, so I don't know if I could go to all that stuff anyway.
Okay, well, we'll
But
see
yours
what
I
we can do.
can.
Because, obviously, we're gonna a little bit have to go around their schedule, too. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I do have one executive session, but you know what? Instead of having Mike hang around,
Because you always forget them.
because I always forget him.
We don't need to, the pay, we need to do a pay too. We don't need to do that in executive session, do we?
Oh, I think we
I don't think so. Why would we?
Oh.
All right.
I mean, I don't think so if we don't mention anybody. Well, maybe it'd be safer. Oh, oops, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And ratify it when it's not, I
Yeah.
think is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because we are talking about a person.
Yep, you're right.
Okay,
Names always come out.
Mike, do you have any questions? I know this was an exciting meeting tonight. Do you want to know what a fence viewer does?
No, not really.
I thought it was because most of us can't tell you.
Where of Coles?
The one thing I actually wanted to ask about very quickly was actually from town meeting.
Mhm.
And I want to be sure I understand it correctly, and also if there's anything else that has to happen from the select board standpoint, and that is the police cruiser issue.
Mhm.
It's my understanding that there was an amendment and a vote, a successful vote to spend that money. I don't know if the words immediately or soon or something,
Mhm.
to buy that cruiser. Because it's been such a big issue, I wanted to follow up with anybody on the board.
Well, to be honest with you, the deal that was made between the police department and the finance committee allowed the police department to buy their cruiser in 2013, so it was going to be purchased anyway.
Okay.
And also, our goal was to make sure that we were abiding by the capital plan and what the language was in the capital plan. Once the, 2013 came around, it's time to do it anyway. The police department still is going to have to go in front of the finance committee. They're still going to have to let the finance committee know the details of what they want to buy. The finance committee does not have to accept that. They can suggest a more moderately priced vehicle if that is their choice. And then it still has to come back to the to the select board for approval on the exact purchase of the car.
That's, I would assume that there would have to be a vote.
There would still have to be a vote, right? We'd still have to approve what car they're buying. And that's done just to prevent departments all over the state from buying, huge Taj Mahal vehicles when they only need a little scooter. And I'm not saying that's all the police department needs, it's just an example that I'm using, So we want to make sure that the money's being spent wisely. We're not buying more of any vehicle than what we need.
So does this inform the meeting that has to happen in the finance committee where you have to hear the way?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they have to go in
Yes.
front of the finance committee, and then they have to come in front of the select board for final approval.
We're gonna explain immediately.
You go ahead. Talk.
Speak up.
I'm speaking up. The motion did say immediately, however, the board can't authorize that for at least 30 days, because someone has 30 days to petition to reconsider an article at any annual meeting.
So no action at all can be taken until after April, what was town meeting, 4th and 5th?
Yep.
So after April 5th. On anything that was voted on in town meeting. And that's law.
So,
They can do the legwork.
Yeah, they could do the legwork, but just no action.
Get the
can be
bids.
taken.
that's what I was gonna ask, if they could speak to the finance committee
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes.
We certainly can.
And the finance committee can take a vote, but the select board can't.
Because apparently there's some concern that this state bid that you had last year is gonna expire in early to mid-April, so that's the.
Well, the first we
They-
heard was early to mid-November last year.
Yeah.
So, the state bid is always there. They're always rebidding this, everybody in the state buys vehicles. So, that's really not a concern. Because if it was, we would have lost it already in November.
And they bring all of that to the finance committee, and then we look at it, and then we bring it all to the
They
select
look at
board.
it.
They look at it, I'm
You no
sorry,
longer
I'm new.
occupy it.
That's right, sorry.
I guess on a related note, there had been talk, I believe late last year, about, maybe earlier this year, of establishing more firm maintenance guidelines for, maybe not just for cruisers, but for any town vehicle.
Uh-huh.
Did that happen, or did it not? Was there discussion?
That has not happened yet, but we have a couple people that are doing some research on what a maintenance record would be, and they're gonna get that to the select board, and then the select board is going to pass that along to different departments. The town highway department already they have maintenance records on file in the town highway department. They inspect those vehicles all the time. They write down what the mileage is, what the repairs are, and all of that stuff all of the time, and the fire department does that also. Those maintenance records are kept within, so it's, those two departments are really not part of this discussion, because they have been doing that all along. There's only one department that hasn't. Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Motion to go into executive session, please?
Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive session, first time, on a pending litigation. Which one do you want first? That one's pending litigation,
Yeah.
is it right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. The disclosure of which at this time might be detrimental to the town or the individuals involved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session on a pending litigation issue, the disclosure of which at this time may be detrimental to the town. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I'm in your way.
Bye-bye. Went into executive session at 8:21, came out at 8:38, no action taken. May I have a motion?
Yes, I move that the new town clerk position should stay at grade 13 entry level.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the town clerk's position to be at grade 13, entry level. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to join this meeting of March 11th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Now, who's
Meeting
going to
adjourned.
see that, what's her name gets these? She,
Is this door gonna be locked?
I was just gonna say, give it to Sandy, she can give it to her tomorrow.